Welcome to class, students. Today we'll be looking at a very vital topic titled Crisis Prevention and Preparedness. Crisis prevention and preparedness represent strategic approaches designed to anticipate, prevent, and respond to potential organizational disruptions. This proactive methodology focuses on systematically reducing both the probability of crisis occurrence and the severity of their potential impact through comprehensive planning, risk management, and organizational readiness. Crisis prevention strategy includes identification and assessment, strategic risk mitigation, organizational resilience development. Crisis prevention strategy. We have the risk identification and assessment. Organization must systematically evaluate their operational environment to identify vulnerabilities and potential threats. This comprehensive analysis encompasses both internal organizational weaknesses and external environmental factors that could trigger disruptions. This process involves conducting thorough risk assessment, engaging in strategic scenario planning, and maintaining continuous awareness of evolving threats across multiple domains, including technological, financial, operational, regulatory, and reputational risks. Strategic risk mitigation. Following risk identification, organization must develop and implement targeted intervention designed to eliminate or substantially reduce the probability of identified threats materializing into actual crisis. These mitigation strategies may include policy reforms, infrastructure investment, enhanced security protocols, improve operational procedures, and comprehensive employee development programs that address specific vulnerabilities within the organizational structure. We also have organizational resilience development. Building institutional resilience requires cultivating an organizational culture that emphasizes preparedness, adaptability, and continuous learning. This involves creating transparent communication network, establishing clear accountability structure, and ensure all organizational members understand their specific roles and responsibility during potential crisis situations. Resilience development also encompasses fostering psychological preparedness and maintaining organizational agility to respond effectively to unexpected challenges. Crisis preparedness implementation involve comprehensive response planning, multi-channel communication infrastructure, training and competency development, strategic resource management. Comprehensive response planning. Effective crisis preparedness demands the deployment or development of detailed actionable management plans that provide clear guidance for responding to various crisis scenarios. These plans must outline specific protocols for decision making, resource mobilization, stakeholder communication, operational continuity, and recovery procedures. This planning process should address multiple crisis types and severity levels while maintaining sufficient flexibility to accommodate unique situational requirements. While multi-channel communication infrastructure. Establishing robust communication system is fundamental to effective crisis management. Organization must develop redundant communication pathways that can function reliably under adverse conditions, ensuring continuous connectivity with employees, customers, suppliers, regulatory bodies, media representatives, and other critical stakeholders. This system should incorporate both traditional and digital communication platforms to maximize reach and reliability. We also have training and competency development. Regular training programs and simulation exercises are essential for maintaining organizational readiness and ensuring effective crisis response capabilities. This educational initiative should encompass both theoretical knowledge transfer and practical skill development through realistic scenario-based exercises, tabletop simulation, and full-scale emergency drills that test all aspects of crisis management framework. We also have strategic resource management. Organization must systematically allocate and maintain essential resources required for effective crisis response, including human capital, technological infrastructure, financial reserves, and physical assets. This resource planning should address both immediate response needs and sustained recovery operation while ensuring resources remain accessible and functional during crisis conditions. Fundamental principles of crisis prevention and anticipatory management: holistic planning integration, strategic communication excellence, continuous capability enhancement, and dynamic anticipatory management. Organizations should adapt or adopt forward-looking approaches that emphasize early identification and prevention of potential crises rather than reactivate responses to established problems. This proactive orientation requires continuous environmental scanning, trend analysis, and strategic planning that anticipates future challenges and prepares appropriate responses. Holistic planning integration: crisis management planning must be comprehensive, addressing multiple crisis scenarios while integrating seamlessly with broader organization strategies and operational procedures. This integration ensures consistency across organizational levels and functions while maintaining alignment with overall business objective and values. Strategic communication excellence: effective communication during crisis situation requires pre-established protocols, trained personnel, and reliable infrastructure that can deliver accurate, timely, and appropriate information to all relevant stakeholders. Communication strategy must address both internal coordination need and external stakeholder expectation while maintaining transparency and credibility. Continuous capability enhancement: organization must maintain ongoing commitment to training, education, and skill development to ensure crisis response capability remain current and effective. This includes regular assessment of competency, updating of procedure based on lessons learned, and adaptation to evolving threats and organizational changes. Dynamic adaptability: crisis management framework must incorporate sufficient flexibility to respond effectively to unexpected situations, changing conditions, and unique circumstances that may not align perfectly with the predetermined plans. This adaptability requires both structural flexibility in planning document and cultural readiness to improvise and innovate when necessary. Crisis management planning represents a systematic approach to preparing organizations for potential disruption that could significantly impact their operation, financial stability, and reputation. A crisis management plan serves as a comprehensive blueprint that delineates specific roles, responsibility, and procedural frameworks that personnel must execute across all phases of crisis event, from initial preparation through active response to post-crisis recovery. The fundamental purpose of crisis management planning extends beyond mere reactive measures. This strategic document provides a structured guidance for responding to critical incidents that threaten organizational continuity, enabling leadership to minimize adverse impacts while maintaining the operational effectiveness. So we want to look at the 5 phases crisis management plan development. The phase 1 is the comprehensive vulnerability assessment. Phase 2 is crisis management team formation. Phase 3 is activation criteria and command structure. Phase 4 is scenario specific response playbooks. Then phase 5 is testing and validation programs. Phase 1: comprehensive vulnerability assessment. The foundation of effective crisis management planning begins with conducting a thorough vulnerability audit that systematically evaluates current organizational preparedness levels. This multidisciplinary risk assessment process involves cross-functional teams that examine potential threats across multiple domains, including operational vulnerability arising from standard business process, external environmental factors beyond organizational control, and industry-specific risks that commonly affect similar organizations. The vulnerability assessment process produces a prioritized inventory of potential crisis scenarios ranked according to both probability of occurrence and estimated response. Phase 2 is crisis management team formation. Effective crisis management planning requires dedicated personnel who possess both the authority and the expertise necessary to develop and implement comprehensive response strategies. This crisis management team represents a carefully selected group of organizational leaders who maintain responsibility for both plan creation and subsequent execution during actual crisis events. The team structure begins with crisis management chair, who serves as primary leader for all the crisis preparedness activity. We have the optimal crisis management composition, which includes crisis management chair, senior finance representative, human resource leaders, operations manager, information technology director, and communication specialist, which can be internal and external messaging coordination. Phase 3 is the activation criteria and command structure. Crisis management plan effectiveness depends heavily on clear activation guidelines that define when and how the response protocol should be initiated. The crisis management team must develop specific criteria and observable indicators that trigger plan activation, ensuring that response are neither delayed due to uncertainty or initiated unnecessarily for minor incidents. Phase 5 is testing and validation programs. Crisis management plans require regular testing and validation to maintain effectiveness and build organizational competency. Controlled exercise environment provide safe opportunities for personnel to practice response procedures, identify potential weaknesses, and develop confidence in crisis management capabilities. Systematic testing programs serve multiple organizational functions beyond familiarity building. Regular exercises help crisis leaders identify latent problems within responses procedure, develop solution for identifying gaps, and reinforce organizational culture that values crisis preparedness and continuous improvement. Thank you for listening.